evening, everybody. As Charles said, my name is Tom McDermott. I've got a business called Agility Hospitality. We specialize in helping to optimize everyday processes in hotels, and we improve productivity in hotels, and we do that not by making people's work harder or making our team members work harder, making them work a little bit easier, but also delivering at least the same, if not a better outcome, better guest experience than before. So before we get into that, I want to just share with you this slide here. And you may have seen this slide before, but this one is included in every single presentation, every deck I do, because we've got these cavemen here who are probably representing our team members. Very, very good team members, very, very loyal. They work really, really hard. They've been working here a long time. Their job here is to move the rocks from point A to point B. They've been doing a great job at it, but they don't realize they've actually got square wheels on the rock truck. But they don't care because they've been always doing it that way. Somebody comes along one day with the latest technology. Maybe it's AI. I've not got any AI slides today. I apologize for that. This is close as we get. But they're coming along with the round wheels and they're saying, this is the latest technology. Why don't you use these instead? You can achieve the same work, but you don't have to work nearly as hard. So as we go through some of the items today, some things you may not agree with, or some things may not be really intuitive first time round, but keep an open mind. You never know what's going to resonate and what's not. So this man here, I would quite like the simplicity of this statement here. Peter Drucker, you may have heard of. He says efficiency is doing better what's already been done. We're already servicing rooms, we're already making club sandwiches every day, we're already checking guests in, checking guests out, but can we do it a little bit better? It's already been done, and that's what efficiency is. It's not a scary word, and some people think it's very scary. It's all about making cuts and doing more with less, but efficiency, we're already doing this work, can we do it a little bit better, a little bit easier? It's not that long ago, we used to check guests in and give them this little metal key. And I don't know many hotels now who still do that. But we've got now the ability to be able to check in straight away and go straight to the rooms, and you don't even have to go past the desk, as you know. You go straight to the rooms, and technology allowed us to do that. When we're using the coolest phone ever, one of these little things, couldn't do that. Remember those? You probably all had one of those little flip phones. Can't do that sort of work. Things have moved on. Things have improved, continually improve. So this is what a hotel team used to look like, probably 80, 100 years ago. Built very much on a hierarchy. There was bosses, there was workers, very, very different to what it is today. Our team members today are more likely maybe looking and feeling and addressing their concerns a lot differently than they did 100 years ago. It's not the same as what it used to be. So they've changed. We've certainly got to change. Team members these days want to have a workplace that's fun and flexible. They want to have a say in the work that they're doing. They want to be able to have scheduling control so that they can spend more time doing the stuff that they really like to do instead of spending a lot more of their time on work like we used to. So we've got this four-stage approach we use to continuous improvement. And as I said, it's all about trying to make, in the first instance, the job easier for the team. We have to answer that question, first of all, what's in it for me? Why should I care? In order to engage our team members. And they should care because if we can make their job a little bit easier by taking things out of the everyday process that they do, which are frankly a pain in the bum for them to do, then that's better for them. That's an advantage for them. And also with the time that we identify as being saved, that can be redeployed in the guest experience. We often hear people don't have time to be able to offer the second coffee or the next drink or take a dessert order or those kind of things, engage with the customers because they're spending a lot of their time on activities which don't add any value to that customer experience. So we're not saying about harming the important stuff, we're saying taking away the waste and redeploying it. This all has to be built around a culture. We call it a culture of continuous improvement, where the leaders create the environment, a direction of travel, if you like. This, we call it a leader-led, but a bottom-up culture, where the team members are engaged in sharing their ideas and suggestions of how their work can be done easier and better. And eventually, we start to see improvements in productivity, profitability, competitiveness for the business. That's good for team members also. Team members also want to work for businesses that are profitable, that are secure. There's good opportunities for them to grow and develop within the business as well. But they're not all like that. Sometimes we come across these team members who say, well, we've always done it that way. Maybe not just team members, maybe managers as well. We've done this, we tried that out 5 years ago, didn't work then, why should it work now? So we have to overcome that. And to overcome that, we need to think a little bit differently. As a friend here, Mr. Einstein, he said we cannot solve our problems with the same thinking we used when we created them. Over the years, we've added a lot of complexity into the work that we do. Now I think it's time to be able to simplify some of the work that we do, take away some of that levels of complexity. And we do that through looking at processes through a slightly different lens, taking a fresh look at what it is we're doing, taking a step back and wondering, why are we doing things that way? Asking why a lot. And the methodology that we use for this, we're inspired by the methodologies of Lean and Six Sigma. And Lean is it's very common in manufacturing, of course, that's where it originated from. But there's huge opportunities in the hospitality businesses to apply the principles and the methodologies of Lean in hospitality. It's all about identifying waste, reducing waste, eliminating waste, and then redeploying the time that's saved in the guest experience. There's so much low-hanging fruit when we apply these methodologies. I use this a pie chart here to describe a day in the life. Maybe it's a shift, maybe it's an 8 or a 10-hour shift, and here we've got a whole day. So we've got, in that time, there is activities that we do and our team members do, which are adding value to the guest experience. There's other activities that we do that are not adding any value to the guest experience. That might be going around looking for teaspoons, or spending time traveling long distances because the storage is too far away from where things are required. We also have other activities which are called necessary but non-value adding activities. And they're things like cashing up at the end of the night, counting all your money, making sure your credit card system matches your point of sale system, going through quite an onerous process maybe to bank your cash at the end of the night, but your customer gets no value out of that process. Your guest doesn't care if you count your money or not. It makes no difference to them, no value to them. It's a necessary process, but it's not adding any value. So what we're trying to do is to understand this concept that customers are only interested in paying for the value-adding activities. They're only interested in the green stuff. They only want to pay for the green stuff. So we have to try and figure out how to eliminate the red items and reduce the yellow items. We do that by using this guy here. And this guy is a bug. And it's a frustration, it's a bug, it's an annoyance. And if you ever sat in a room with your team and you asked them to come up with ideas of how to improve processes or the way we do things, give us your ideas of what to do, you tend to find people tense up. And the mouths close, nobody's got any ideas, and it's a bit of a damp squib. If we reframe that and turn that around and ask people to identify some of the bugs they've got, the things that they encounter in work that frustrate them, you all of a sudden open the floodgates. People are very, very happy to talk about the frustrations, less happy to talk about the improvements. And that starts a great conversation of identifying some of these frustrations, which can therefore be turned into improvement opportunities. And that's the approach that we use. Because we want to have more of these scenes. We want to have customers leaving maybe after their 50th time staying with you, and they can't quite put their finger on it, but this time it feels different. And that could be as a result of many, many small, continuous improvements that have been done during their stay. Removing friction, problem avoidance, so that they leave with that feeling that this time is even better, even though the physical product hasn't changed. So we have to embrace this culture, I believe, and we call it, as we said, the bottom-up and leader-led culture. The role of the leaders here is to create this positive environment, this safe space where our team know their opinion is important, they're the experts in their field, and I don't care, like I was a former general manager with Hilton, I didn't know the best way to run the bar. I didn't know the best way to service a bedroom. I knew conceptually what I wanted to get from it, but your team who are using the equipment and doing the job every single day have got much more insights than the managers do. But the leaders have to create that environment to extract that feedback from your team. The team members also have a responsibility. By sharing that, they also inherit the responsibility for improving those processes. But they can't all do it on their own. They have to work together, the team members and the leaders of the departments of the hotels. Team members have the ideas and know where the investments perhaps could be made, but they don't have the checkbook. They don't always have the authority, and they need to work together to solve these customer-driven projects together. A really interesting book called The Lean Turnaround by this guy, Art Byrne. He analyzed and wrote a book about implementing lean in a different organization. And there's lots of great takeaways from this book, but one of my favorites is it must be led by the leader of the business. If the leader doesn't buy in, if the leader doesn't engage with that process, that lean or that continuous improvement process, nobody else will. It's like if something's important to you, it should be, if something's important to your boss, it should be important to you as well. So this gentleman here, Mr. Edward Deming, he wrote probably one of my favorite quotes. Without data, you're just another person with an opinion. We talked a lot about data today. The data that we use to measure how effective we are from an efficiency point of view is productivity. And we want to make sure that we've got satisfied customers. We're not under-servicing them, but we're doing it in a profitable way. We're not going to just put lots and lots of extra resources to something. It needs to be proportionate. But also, we need to keep our team engaged, and we do that through making the processes much more efficient. So this is an example of a labor model looking at over a period of 12 months. And we can see that the occupied rooms goes up and down over the period of the year. But you start to see the amount of time it takes to service those rooms per month also fluctuates quite a lot. And that ranges from about 7 minutes per room, in this case here, to 17 minutes in that month. And that should be a lot flatter. That should all be in the same level. So it's a ratio. It's how much labor you need to service the levels of demand. It should be like that. I've never seen a hotel like that yet, but that's the aspiration. That's perfection that we want to move to. We worked with a hotel in their housekeeping department with taking ideas from the team, changing the culture in the business, and then conducting some analysis on their housekeeping department. And on a like-for-like period of 6 months, their productivity improved by 19% by taking into consideration the team members' ideas and feedback and adding some real data to that. A few of the things that we did, I'll leave with you. I've got a top 5 of takeaways, if you like, from efficiency in housekeeping. And one of the things we start doing is removing excess items from rooms. There's a lot of stuff goes into rooms that your customer doesn't value, stuff they don't need. They don't need 6 pillows and 2 throws and all these other kind of things in your rooms, not adding value to them. Those kind of things. Looking at these, what makes a difference to your customer? Creating separate room cleaning steps for stay-over rooms and departure rooms. You'd be surprised how many hotels don't do that. They've got the one process for all of those type of room status. Invest in time-saving equipment. Technology is great. Housekeeping systems, things like vacuum cleaners, cordless vacuum cleaners. It takes about 30 to 40 seconds per room to handle the cable for a vacuum cleaner. Implement volume-based labor forecasting and scheduling using productivity metrics. The more rooms you need to service, the more hours you need to use, and the less vice versa. Organize and standardize your trolleys, work areas, and storage locations. You've often heard the expression, just there's a place for everything, and everything has its place. We don't often follow those old rules that we learned from our parents and our grandparents. So I'm going to leave you with those top 5 tips. If anybody would like to have the presentation from today, similar to our colleague beforehand, please scan the QR code, send me a little note, and I'll be happy to share that one with you. Thank you very much.